This is Fred Richani of TSC News. I have right here on the line a very special guest. He is one of the stars of one of the best-selling video games of all time. He plays the awesome, the odd, the iconic Trevor Phillips in GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. I am talking about Steven Ogg. Ogg, which is short for OGG, Original Gangsta's Gangsta. Steven, how you doing?
I love it. I'm glad you got the gangsta. A lot of people, it's just OG, original gangster. No. It's the double gangster.
Oh, yeah. Man, you and I have been trying to book this interview for the last couple weeks, but I know you're a very busy guy. Not only have you been doing all the hype for GTA 5, of course, GTA 5 recently came out finally on PC and next gen. You were on Better Call Saul. Dude, these last couple of years have been pretty wild for you. What's your life been like since playing Trevor Phillips?
Honestly, it hasn't changed that much. I mean, there's been a little busier, obviously, getting, trying to get more stuff, and obviously the recognition of having done that video game. But, it's aside from obviously the fan base from that and getting a little more of that recognition. For an actor, it's always the same, right? You're working or you're not. So it's always back to the drawing board. Okay, my next gig. And I've been lucky. I've been getting some good stuff. So I'm always, for better or for worse, I'm always looking forward. I'm never looking behind me. So it's always like, well, what do I have today? What do I have tomorrow? And I'm moving forward. But I've been very lucky. Knock on some piece of thing that resembles wood.
Yeah, and when you were playing Trevor Phillips, did you realize that you were also going to get your face scanned as well, or when you got the gig, did it just tell you, hey, you're going to be voicing this character, and you figured it'd be some gangster that we typically see in GTA?
Oh no, that was, I mean, the big appeal for me was going into it, not knowing what it was at first, other than here's this video game. Oh, wow, that sounds cool. And they're going to be using you. They're going to animate you. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. That sounds cool. So from an acting perspective, from an actor's perspective, I was just like, this sounds cool. Like, I'll be a cartoon guy or a video guy. I mean, I'm not a gamer myself, and I wasn't familiar with games or GTA. But just having that opportunity, like to be animated and be a cartoon, sounded fantastic. So I was really excited. And then, of course, it turned into, being GTA 5. But I was, reading it, the writing, I mean, such a brilliant, satirical, irreverent look at society. That the script itself, the character of Trevor was amazing. And then, oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to animate you in your likeness. I mean, I'm not as, methed out as Trev. And actually, someone just yesterday said at my son's summer camp, one of the fathers was like, oh, someone showed me your pic, you're the GTA guy. I said, yeah. And he's like, but you're much better looking in person. So I said, well, thank you. Because sometimes, people recognize, I get recognized, and I'm like, wow, I must really look like, can we swear or no?
Yeah,
I look
do
like
whatever you want, yeah.
I'm like, wow, I must really look like shit. If people think I look so much like Trevor, I'm like, wow, I must not be that attractive today.
And
I think it's
I'm sorry. I was going to say with Trevor, you say people do recognize you. Not everybody realizes that when you are playing a character in a video game, a lot of times some of the guys playing them do get face scanned. So do you ever get people that come up to you and go, oh, you really look like Trevor from GTA, but not without realizing that you actually were Trevor from GTA?
I've had that recently, in fact, where this was actually literally last week at a water park because school's over, so trying to soak up as much time with my son as I can. We're at a water park. And, within the demographics of the water park in New Jersey, actually, Action Park, I think it's called, something like that. It soon there was sort of had a bit of a parade that seemed to be following around. And it took that initial, there was a couple of like, you really look like this character. I'm sorry to bug you, but you really look like, this character Trevor on this video game. And of course, my son spoke up for me and said, "It is Trevor." Then the parade got larger. So we had followers all day, lovely people. But that was actually just happened where they're like, "You really look like that guy." "Oh, you are." And as soon as, of course, I start to talk, then it's a no-brainer.
Was there anything that weirded you out about the Trevor character when reading the script? I mean, whether it's waking up with that guy. I mean, the one thing I liked about Trevor personally, and also probably weirded people out the most, is the fact that you never knew where he was going to wake up, and you never knew what he was going to wake up in.
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are great. No, there's nothing. I mean, this guy does what he wants. Both figuratively and literally, right?
Yeah.
He does whoever he wants. He does what he wants. He's completely impulsive. He goes with exactly what he feels and what he needs. So, that was the character, and that's what you, as an actor, you go for. There were certainly things that I, raised the eyebrow at. Oh, that's interesting, but again, how much fun to do.
Sure seems like it.
Blast.
Yeah, sure seems like it. And when the Trevor Phillips character came to life with your face on it, how surreal was that for you and also for the people closest to you? Because on one hand, it's really freaking cool. I mean, you're enshrined in a legendary video game that sold God knows how many copies around the world. On the other hand, your face is on a guy that is doing some pretty outrageous stuff.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, it's probably more exciting for my son to experience it all. It's cool. I mean, it was amazing, especially when it first came out and posters all over the place. And, New York City down on, Houston and Lafayette, there's just an enormous wall painting of Trevor. Skyscrapers, they're in England, all over the world, buses covered. And it was pretty, it was pretty cool. But again, like I've said in the past, it really doesn't change the way I take a piss in the morning. It's cool, the attention or all of that, but it's just like, an actor whose billboards are everywhere or advertisements are everywhere. Just kind of take it in stride with what it is. I mean, appreciate it. Very cool. But, it didn't stop me in my tracks and make me question anything or reevaluate. It's like, wow, that's cool. It was just, you kind of step outside of it, if that makes sense, Mm-hmm. It's not you necessarily. It's like, hey, look at that character I did.
All right, yeah, that's a good attitude to have. Now, for those that don't know, you've actually done some work prior to Trevor and after Trevor. How'd you get your start in show business?
My mother recently corrected me because I was like, I've always said that I started the National Film Board of Canada. I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I did a film. I just had this little bit part, but I did acting growing up in Calgary in Canada. I mean, that was my first thing with the theater. That was sort of the love of acting. I just got into it, and I loved playing characters, which the video game GTA was one of the it was a huge resurgence for me of the love of acting because it was like doing theater as a kid. You're just, as a kid I would do a play, The Long, Short, and the Tall, and I played a British soldier with a bayonet, and it was pure play, and that's what the GTA was, just pure play and escape. So I did theater, did this National Film Board thing. And, of course, my mom reminded me, this was a few weeks ago when I was in some, she goes, you actually started before all that, before theater when I was 10 in the film. I said, what? And she's like, you used to do Betty Boop in the school auditorium things. And I was like, oh, my God, I forgot. So in elementary school, I used to dress in drag and play this. I don't know if you're familiar with Betty Boop.
Yeah.
She's a, rather iconic. My mother's British, so I sort of grew up with the British stuff. She's, this is British figure, cartoon girl that I dressed up as. So that was actually my start, is dressing in drag in elementary school. Quite an auspicious beginning, I would say.
Hey, it showed your versatility throughout your career, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Can't wait to get back in drag one day.
Oh, yeah. Who are your early influences? Anybody in particular? I know we talked off the air. You watched a lot of professional wrestling, Stampede wrestling. I'm sure you watched a lot of movies as a kid. Anybody in particular that kind of stood out for you, made you want to get into show business?
Growing up, there was never really one actor that made me like, because growing up, 70s, 80s, it's Star Wars, E.T., all the Spielberg, Lucas films, Raiders of the Lost Ark. But certainly watching those, I wasn't like, oh my God, I want to be Harrison Ford. So there was no, growing up, certainly no direct influence on an actor, although I just watched last night, which I haven't seen in years, the Naked Gun series with Leslie Nielsen. And, from the 80s. And I wanted to show my son of like, hey, this is what, this is how these movies used to be. Because, of course, you look at 88, my son's already like, oh, my God, Dad, that's so fake. Kids nowadays we're so spoiled nowadays with the technology and everything. I was watching that, though, and I did think, and I was telling them, these are things that I still use in comedies that were based on some of this. So I was like, wow, Leslie Nielsen, I hadn't thought about him. But all of, his facial stuff that he does, all the reaction shots, I can't say it was I would never have thought of that had I not just watched it last night. But there's all these things that certainly seep into one's work and performance. But I never, there was not a pivotal moment of watching Star Wars and, wow, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, I want to be them. Chewbacca, now there's someone I may have thought, And I'm pretty hairy, so maybe that's the biggest thing.
Hey, they are recasting for the new Star Wars series, so maybe there's a shot.
Bring it on, I say. I would love to. Yes, please.
Now another role, speaking of bringing it on, that you've been campaigning for real, actually, is Bullseye from Daredevil. Why do you feel like you could play Bullseye in Daredevil? Besides
that was funny because that was something that came on the old social media, and I kind of just put like a response of like, haha, I did Bullseye because I've watched Daredevil. I have friends on the show, and so then I just happened to see, Jason, Statham is not doing it, and I ended up posting something that became this. Steven Ogg going for Bullseye. And I don't even know if they're casting it. I mean, they're certainly not casting it now because I know they've got who's playing the Punisher from Walking Dead, John.
I know who you're talking about. Name escapes me right now, but I know what you mean. I know. Barthu.
Terrific actor.
Yeah.
So he's playing the Punisher, and I have read recently that it looks like the Bullseye, there could be some showdown, but it was just sort of this rumor thing. And certainly when I've heard that before, and when I've looked up the Bullseye, and not being, again, a huge comic person, but talking to my son about it, and he knows, and he's obviously my expert on this stuff, and looking at the Bullseye, not the Colin Farrell version necessarily, but that kind of character seems, right up my alley. That kind of guy. I enjoy portraying those characters. So, I think it was more of the rumor than anything, all of it. But, again, I mean, that kind of role, he's got that psycho nature to him. Love it.
You were in Better Call Saul. No spoilers from it. I didn't see the show, but let's just say you didn't fare so well against a gentleman by the name of Mike Armentrout, the iconic Breaking Bad character. What was it like? What was it like being on set for the Breaking Bad prequel?
It was awesome. Just a great. I mean, Jonathan Banks is just a wonderful, wonderful man, and I would have been happy to hang around New Mexico for much longer than I did, shooting with them, because what they've got going is just such a unique show with a very distinct voice. It's got its own thing. It's unlike other shows, and its uniqueness I enjoyed, and just a great group. It's wonderful when you're working with really wonderful, talented people, and everyone is nice and supportive, because it makes you obviously want to do your best work.
Yeah.
So they were great.
And just from a distance too, with that whole Breaking Bad crew with Peter Gold and Vince Gilligan and all of them, I feel like there's like a real, and you see it with other shows too, like Game of Thrones. I feel like there's like a real camaraderie, between them. Did you kind of get a sense of that when you were on set?
I mean, I just worked with Jonathan, and so there wasn't, I didn't get to see Bob Odenkirk or the rest. Well, actually, I met a couple of them after, because they came to say hi to Jonathan. But you certainly get a sense of that just from even the crew. It's not even just the actors. When you get on a set and you have a great crew, you know that everyone gets along. I had a really wonderful experience just before that with the HBO's Westworld, which I'm heading back to LA soon to shoot, which I'm very excited about that. And that was the same deal. I mean, it was a huge, obvious, a different production than Better Call Saul, because you had, Jeffrey Wright and Evan Rachel Wood and James Marsden, Anthony Hopkins. It was Fannie Newton. It's unbelievable, the cast for this HBO show. But again, what made it so wonderful was just every those that I met, the other actors, the crew, just wonderful, lovely people, and it just makes you feel even more fortunate. It's already, anytime you work and you're able to get a gig, it's a great thing. Good to work. And then if you're working with nice people and gracious people, it makes you want to be your best, right? Go above and beyond. Just sports are the same thing. You play with a great team and great players. You want to play better. You want to raise it up, rise it up, raise it up, raise it up, rise it up. Raise it up, rise it up.
Right.
Raising it up.
Either or. I think it's interchangeable.
I'm given every option. Choose A, B, or C.
I'll choose B. There we go. How tight are you with the men behind Michael and Franklin from GTA?
Well, Ned, Luke, and Solo, Fonteno, we're friends. I mean, we shot that thing for 3.5 years. The GTA, so we you get to know everyone and get to know families and the kids, and so we're in touch. We always happy Father's Day and happy birthdays and what's going on and stuff like that. I mean, Solo lives in LA, so whenever we're out there, try to see him, try to get together at least. And Ned is around, Connecticut and New York, so we all definitely stay in touch. I mean, they're great guys. So that was, again, part of the wonderful experience. I mean, a lot of these things, video game, theater, movie, TV, whatever it is, it's that team you're around, and it's usually the memories you have are not necessarily of the work. It's more the relationships that have been formed around the work that leave sometimes the biggest impressions that stay with you. and the friendships you make. It's part of the wonderful side effects, you know.
Could you see Trevor, Michael, and Franklin teaming up again for GTA 6? Because let's face it, off the screen, on the screen, you guys make one hell of a team.
Thanks. I mean, I think we make a fun team too. I think it's interesting dynamics between the three of those characters, and certainly the three of us actors have a fun time together. I mean, you know, when it comes to anything like that, hell, I'm on board. But I'm just a clanging monkey. I don't make those choices. If it was brought to me and is this in something you're interested in doing, hell yeah, you know, it'd be a lot of. But that's all of that stuff's out of my control. I'm just here to clang if they give me the cymbals and say bang them together.
Awesome, man.
That's what I try to do.
Awesome, man. Well, Steven, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you got to get going. Before I let you go, where can fans find you online? And also, what have you got going on that fans can check out?
Oh, well, there's, I mean, certainly for, you know, social media-wise, there's, people can follow me, Instagram, and the Instagram is just OGG_Steven. I think all Instagrams are underscore, aren't they, between the name? I don't know.
It depends. It varies.
Well, that's the, you know, you can follow me on Instagram there, OGG Steven, and then the Twitter is just at Steven Ogg. You know, people you follow there, and you definitely keep up to date with everything I'm doing. I mean, I've got a film I'm very excited about that's going to shoot in England is Solis, Solis, and that's a space film that's just essentially me in space, in this space pod, and it's you know, man versus man, man versus nature. I mean, it could take place on a raft or in a cabin. It's very powerful. That, again, it makes me nervous that I could even do the job it requires, but that's part of the excitement of it. That is going to be hopefully in the fall, so people can check that out and follow along. I know Solis has a Facebook page, so one can use the old World Wide Web to search for that, or might be on my Twitter, Instagram, so Solis. And I'm heading out to LA soon to shoot HBO's Westworld, because that got picked up, so I don't really know what exactly I'll be. But I know the pilot was a lot of fun to shoot, and the production of this thing is insane. It was HBO is definitely making something very exciting on this one, again with an amazing cast. So I'm psyched about that. And then there's you know, other things that I've auditioned for that fingers crossed on, but you never know. So with other things, they just I'll take them as they come. But the Solis and the HBO Westworld are definitely the ones that are pretty for sure coming up, and everything else is just, you know, you kind of wait and see. You wait for the audition, you wait for the next call, all of that. So at least there's forward movement, I would say, Fred.
And that's always a good thing, especially in this business. And one more thing, real quick. One of the Westworld producers I see here is J.J. Abrams. So if you want to grow your hair out a little more, not shave for about a year, and try to pitch that Chewbacca role to him, I think you might be open to that.
I should. Well, I mean, J.J. Abrams produced the Westworld.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, maybe I should. I'm growing a beard out again for Westworld, just not shaving, so I do look like a monkey. You know, I'm pretty much a Neanderthal to begin with, so I certainly have the Chewy essence. So yeah, maybe we can maybe instead of the Bullseye Daredevil on Netflix, maybe there should be a push on the old social media to get OGG as the younger Chewy.
I dig it, man. I dig it. Well, Steven, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Folks, check him out on Twitter at Steven Ogg. Thanks so much, man. Have a great one. Best of luck and everything.
Yeah, you too, Fred. I really appreciate it, my